The impact of fish on human well-being and economic development cannot be underestimated. Globally, fisheries and aquaculture contribute significantly to the economic fortunes of every country. In fact, countries across the globe depend on fish production as a vital contributor to its gross domestic product. All over the world, focus has been on the production and preservation of fish and marine life, but who cares about the fisher?
Bibian Chede, Ebia, assign a contract, and I debia, Bibian Chede, offer office in tea. Elko put him a open eye. What do you one? Any Ebia, Baby Abada, Wizaban, some inside the Boguar, Mesa, Obayo, Punumun, as if say, you'll be a slave. Or my baby today, and you'll be a dear, like I said, why you Manoclana, why Brenna, Eberejo home, just a minute to club was no. Because of one would show a canning tea.
It's a Bosco that will recruit the guys. They do so without recourse to contracts of employment. They do so without giving the fisher an opportunity to know which boat I'm going to on board. They do so without recourse to the fisher to know I like the boat, I don't like the boat. I like the condition, I don't like the condition. How much I will be paid, none of these existed. So all you know is that,
for a job regarded as one of the most dangerous by the International Labour Organization, it is concerning that barely enough is done to secure fisher folk and provide them with good working conditions in accordance with the Sustainable Development Goal 8, Target 8.7. There are also issues of forced labor identified among fishers that threaten decent work in the profession.
Getting fishers on board starts from the recruitment stage, and that is what we have found out is the beginning of the challenge of possible forced labor. Recruitment is very informal. There are no contracts, there are no clear documented steps. There are no agreements on wages, for example. What happens is that there's a agent, okay? There is a middleman who they normally refer to as a crew manager, who now has contact with a vessel and knows that, oh, there are these vessels available that are needing fishermen to go as sailors. They get on board and what they expected doesn't happen. Okay, what do they expect? They expect that there will be good working conditions, they'll have good food, they'll have some nice, adequate accommodation. They are informed about, let's say, the risk on board. They are trained at least a little of it to know the occupational safety and health situations on board. Their personal protective equipment should be available.
This year, major steps were taken to tackle these issues with three major stakeholders: the Ghana Maritime Authority, employers, and fishers coming together under a tripartite committee to set standards favorable to both the employers and the fishers. With the ILO Convention C-188, which looks at working and fishing as a reference point, key results were achieved.
I would say that there is some form of commitment to improve living and working conditions on board. And I think this is the first time that the fishers on one side and then the fishing vessel owners on the other side are negotiating wages. So that is also quite significant. In our work, we were guided by some legal documents. Okay, we were guided by the ILO Convention 188, Working Fishing Convention, Part 4 of the Ghana Shipping, and also the Maritime Labour Convention that preceded the C-188.
We came together because we are suffering and then we have no one to speak for us. So we came together to get a union, which is NOSPA, and then NOSPA also helped us to get ILO, International Labour Organization. So we came together and then we went to GMA to talk to them, which is Ghana Maritime Authority, and they also support us to get the job done.
Definitely there are deviant behaviors that needs to be worked, and because of that, that is why we accepted to be part of the tripartite to ensure that we improve on the system and make everybody well off and create a sustainable industry where the fishers, the employer, can work for a very long time. Because at a point in time, there's the need for you to also think about the people that you work with. So that is why we are there. We want to know whether indeed the law are fully being complied by our members. If not so, then we'll tell them that, look, it is not good. You have to comply.
Resultantly, workers of some 69 fishing vessels currently on Ghana's waters are ready to work with employers under fair working conditions that meet the objectives of ILO Convention 188. Each party has a fair deal.
We are all happy. In fact, we are all happy because at first you go to sea, and when you come, you work for 45 days, 60 days, sometimes 3 months. When you come, you just come and receive 800 Ghana cedis. But now the money is 3,000 for a bosun, and then 2,300 for a fisher, a sailor's deckhand.
Boats be an yoga domo anchorage bill before na bo consider boat in bafa mo waf ansana boat na ko na bi so de bebe yebada yeziban sam bebe enso yebogwal ti say wa ma yisa ye bibiala ye ne ay yes ka sam na azin na so ye ne bibiala gine ma ya anga say hu do sisara anwuta ye ne abe side.
Crew managers are no longer recruiting fishers, and this was evidenced in about 2 weeks ago. We have the Shandong group that had 4 of their vessels sailing. They are the first to have sailed this year, and all 4 vessels, it is the company owners themselves, not their managers, not their HROs. The owner of the license append her signature on the contract even before the fishers signed.
But how did both parties get here?
In the past, for instance, yes, we normally do direct recruitment. However, we weren't so mindful whether individuals were signing individual work agreements or not. We weren't too mindful about that. But these things have been brought to our attention. I think a couple of months ago, 2 months ago, we held a meeting here in Tema, Alisa, organized by ILO, where most of the employers were at the place. Certain issues were raised, particularly on forced labor. And we realized that when it comes to work agreement, it was not done on individual basis.
We met the ILO, Kwame Mensah, and his team, and we started going out with our outdoor programs to the fishers. At that time, the fishers house, that is the trough fishers, had already disembarked from sea. You know, they have a moratorium that begins July 1st to August 31st, 2 months. So now the sailors were at ashore, so that we can talk to them. We can explain things to them.
Is this enough? The bigger goal of the ILO Convention 188 being ratified, however, still remains unattained. Ghana, though has been a member of the ILO since 1957, is yet to ratify C188, which seeks to ensure that fishers have the minimum working requirements while on board a vessel. Beyond the current achievement, what more do these stakeholders believe can be done?
The fisheries law do not only talk about having certificates, but it talk about competency. So we want to see a future where our seafarers, particularly those who are on board, currently are trained. They will be given training in safety security. They will be able to do basic communication. They will have basic communication.
The connection between law, policy, enforcement, the livelihood of fishers, and decent work should be very clear, and they should be standardized so that they can be scaled up and sustained.
It's an industry that is independent. And when we say independent, we mean an industry that has its own financial system or bank that understand what we do. And when they are fashioning out products and services like loans, they will understand the kind of work we do and will not be generalized with all other customers.
Within every institution, what you have to do is to try to improve upon what you have, the system. So our objective currently is the ratification and then enactment of C-188. That is our main objective.
Currently, the top notch or the top echelon are foreigners. They are experts. We want to see a future where everybody on board the vessel will be a Ghanaian. We want to see Ghanaian captains who are manning the vessel.